Hey everybody, welcome back. Now today we're going to have the discussion that a lot of people have asked me to have. It's the discussion that everybody wants me to do but nobody wants to hear because this is a tough love kind of a discussion. Basically, and you know, this comes from a lot of the message boards, it comes from the live streams that we do, it comes from chat boards that I've been on collaborating with other channels and other collectors from Facebook and so on and so forth, that if you are an adult collector right now, whether you're a high-end collector or a low-end collector, and I've got a couple of examples sitting here. You know, I just pulled a few things out. I keep the newer stuff in another room, but I brought them in here for the purpose of what we're talking about. You know, high-end, low-end. Funko's a good example of a low-end collectible. That none of these are worth what they were paid for. Period. If you are a modern adult collector, you are being ripped off. You're being bamboozled. I'm sorry. And this is difficult for a lot of people to admit or even listen to because they will staunchly defend the company that manufactures the goods that they like. But they're defending the company rather than the product. They feel challenged when you say, I don't like that, or you point out something that's wrong, which I've often done. You know, I do the unboxings of modern products, you know, 6 scale figures, 12 scale figures, whatever, 3-0 and Mezco and Hot Toys. I've done a bunch of unboxings. And if I point out flaws, people get really freaking mad. And I've said it 100 times, no one pays me to talk. I'm not getting the stuff for free and getting a pat on the back from the manufacturer. Okay, I'm going to tell you when something's wrong. People get really upset and they're defending the wrong thing because they're being taken advantage of, and maybe they don't want to admit that. Now, I'm not telling you not to collect something. You like Funko, you like This Is Big Chief Studios up here, you like Mezco, Hot Toys, whatever you like. If you really like it and you're happy with it, I can't take that from you, and I'm not trying to. Okay, I've got the stuff myself, but at least I can admit that I know I overpaid and that something's wrong. Something is wrong in the industry. And I'm going to talk about the high-end collectibles, and then I'm going to talk about low-end really quickly. Now, I have to take you back a little bit, a few years. I used to work for PepsiCo. I used to work for PepsiCo in the Frito-Lay division in the Frito-Lay plant in Topeka, Kansas. And I was a skilled processor, which basically meant I ran one of their kitchens. I made the chips, I'm sorry. I worked in the corn division. You know, they made like Doritos and Santitos and Scoops and all that kind of stuff. And they drill it into your head in training with Frito-Lay because PepsiCo takes this very, very seriously. Most manufacturers take this very seriously, that there's a 3-tier system in manufacturing, okay? You can offer your customer any 2 of them, but you can't give them all 3. Because it's not realistic. But if you are offering them less than 2 out of 3, then you're doing a disservice to your customer. All right? And this is multifaceted. So there's different levels to each of the 3, and I'll explain that here really quickly. And I'll try to simplify it as much as I can, so in case somebody doesn't quite understand. The first is speed, the second is price, and the third is quality. All right, those are the 3 tiers. And they have, like I said, different levels. For example, quality could be, in the case of, let's say, the potato chips, because like I said, Frito-Lay. How does it taste? What are the ingredients? How properly was it assembled? Does it look good? What kind of quality is the packaging? Does the packaging look good? Is the packaging made from stable materials? You see what I'm doing here? It's the same thing with the speed. Speed also means availability. How fast can you make it? How fast can you get it to the consumer? And how reasonable is the price? Okay? And then there is the price, but I kind of jumped ahead there when I said how is the price, but the yeah, how quickly can you manufacture it, how quickly can you get it out, and how easily readily available it is. and then there's price. But price is kind of stagnant. There are no tiers to price because it's either good or it's not. Now, in Frito-Lay's opinion, we want to make good quality, all facets of quality, good ingredients, good materials, well constructed, good flavor, the whole 9 yards. We want to give you speed. We'll make it as fast as we can, and that plant ran 24 hours a day. We're going to deliver it to where it needs to be as quickly as we can, and then we're going to make sure the shelves are full. But we can't give you a cheap price because it's just not realistic with us doing all that, right? As opposed to Frito-Lay's biggest competitor, which is actually Walmart, believe it or not, because Walmart counterfeits all of Frito-Lay's material. Every chip that Frito-Lay makes, Walmart makes their own, what do they call that, Great Value?
Sam's Choice and Great Value.
Yeah, Great Value. And they get away with it, side note, they get away with counterfeiting the ingredients because they're also Frito-Lay's biggest customer. And so Frito-Lay has tried to press them about that in the past. Hey, you're copying our chips. And Walmart has threatened to not stock their shelves. And that would be like 40% of their business. They can't afford to. Walmart does that. I used to work for Walmart too, years and years ago. But Walmart, by contrast, the chips look the same, but they don't taste the same. They don't look as good. The packaging's not as decent. The price is better, and it's available, so that's what they're giving you. Availability and price, just not quality. Now, any of your modern adult high-end collectibles. This one is Big Chief Studios, but it could be Hot Toys, it could be 3-0, it could be anybody. Or the Mezco, Damn Toys, whatever. Tell me you're getting any of those 3 models. Are they readily available? Or do you have to wait like a year on pre-orders and maybe it'll come out on time? Maybe it won't get delayed half a dozen times. I think this one was delayed twice. I'm waiting for the John Pertwee. I think it's already had 3 delays. It's not available. It's not manufactured quickly. It's not readily available. When you pre-order, rarely is it ever ready, or even close to it. You wait months, sometimes more than a year. The John Wick, I think, we waited 13 or 14 months for John Wick because of delays. It's not a good price. They're charging a lot, basically because they know you'll pay it. The price is going up all the time on this stuff. And they can charge a lot less and still turn a profit, but they know you're going to pay it. Period. 3-0, I mentioned them earlier, is a great example of this right now because 3-0 is trying to compete with like Hot Toys and Sideshow. So one of the things that 3-0 has done is reduce their prices. If you've noticed, especially they've got a lot of anime licenses right now. How expensive are they? Their Power Rangers averaging around about $100 a piece for 6th scale Power Rangers. If those were Hot Toys, tell me they wouldn't be $250 a piece. How is 3-0 able to make a 6th scale figure at around $100 and still turn a profit? Because they can still turn a profit, and so can Hot Toys. So can Big Chief, so can all of them. Quality. If you only consider quality to be the physical appearance, then fine. But that's not the only aspect of quality. What materials are they made out of? Most of these are pretty flimsy. Hot Toys, all of them. The materials are not very well constructed. They fall apart, they stain, they discolor, the pleather shreds, they split apart, seams open up. The materials are not that good. The materials are not that great on the actual figures' bodies themselves. Joints are always snapping, pieces are popping out. The quality is not there. It really isn't. The sculpting may be very good. I mean, that does look like Captain Scarlet right here. This does look like Ronin Wolverine. That actually looks really nice. But he's got weak wrists. They can break easily. He can't stand at all because there's a problem with his balance. He has to have the stand in order to stand up. The quality is not necessarily there. The pieces, the sword, the claws are extremely flimsy. I could accidentally break that very easily. They are very, very delicate. Appearance wise, it's fine. Another aspect of quality with these is packaging. Damn Toys, I brought this one out deliberately because that's a great example. If you saw my review of this figure, which fell apart in my hands, by the way, when I was reviewing it, the packaging is incredibly flimsy. It's like a cereal box that it came in, a tiny, tiny cereal box that full, unopened, weighed less than 7 ounces because they wanted to cut corners as much as possible for a relatively expensive 12th scale figure. This is not good quality at all. It isn't. I like the way it looks. And again, if that's all you care about, fine. But they need to stop calling these action figures. Call them art pieces. Posable art pieces. Stop saying action figures. Stop saying pose, play, display on the boxes. I think that's the phrase that's on the Mezco boxes, pose, play, and display. Because you are not playing with this. It will break to pieces almost immediately. And people will defend that. Even on the lower end of the spectrum, like NECA, for example. NECA action figures are notoriously flimsy. And people are like, oh, well, you don't understand. You need to take a hair dryer. You need to submerge it in warm water. And you know what? No, I don't. I should be able to go to the company and say, you know what? These wrists are too flimsy. Or this neck joint is no good. Or this torso doesn't turn. Or something, you know? And have them actually take me seriously, or anyone with a complaint seriously, instead of using them for fodder to be made fun of in their social media. You have a complaint, they pick on you, and then everybody says, oh, you're an ass, because you know you should take a hairdryer to it. No, I shouldn't have to take a hairdryer to it, because if it's that bad, the company should fix it. There's a good example of that back here. Here is the Mezco, now I'm doing it, Mattel Godzilla. This is the third Godzilla. Why were there 3? Because the first one was a really, really bright green, and customers were like, that doesn't look like Godzilla. So Mattel said, okay, we'll recast them in a darker plastic. Because the customers weren't happy. They weren't buying it. Then they changed the switch. That's flame. They call it the tongue, but you know, technically it's flame. The third version has a reinforced switch because they kept breaking. Consumers complained. Mattel answered the problem. They solved it. They didn't sit there and say, glue the shit and quit whining. But that's what a modern company would tell you. G.I. Joe, a Raw series, is a great example. Why are there straight arm and swivel arm Raw action figures? Because Mattel was getting, not Mattel, but Hasbro was getting complaints that the thumbs kept breaking off. So what did they do? They re-engineered the arms so that they could be positioned so that the thumbs wouldn't break anymore. Instead of telling you, well, tell your kid to quit posing them like that. Did anybody tell the consumers that from Hasbro? But watch what they do now. On the lower end of collecting, like I said, people will fiercely defend NECA. Oh, you've just got to be real careful with them. You have to know how to pose them and how to handle them very carefully. No, maybe NECA could make a few improvements. Maybe that for the price that they're charging. Or way down the line, there's another way that these companies get people. And again, remember, this is because you're willing to pay for it. And the prices keep going up all the time. The reason they keep steadily increasing is because you keep steadily paying for it. If you weren't willing to pay for it, then they would back off. And like I said, 3.0 is a great example of that right now, but that's them making a play in the market. So they may yet jump in prices. So watch out. But the way they get you on the low end, like with Funko here, that's your average Funko. Here's Pennywise. Or if you collect the Mego, sometimes referred to as New Mego, the ones that are on the shelves now, NECA, which I already mentioned, Marvel Legends, McFarlane toys, is with volume. Oh, this by itself only costs how much? You know, if you got this at Walmart, it's less than $10. If you got it at FYE, what is it, like 12 or something? I don't remember. But Yeah, okay. Oh, it's just this, and it's just $10. But then you end up with 50 of them. How much did you spend? That's why they repaint them all the time. That's why they make chases. That's why they make variants. Because at heart, most collectors are completists. And so they're going to try to make the whole set. And they get you in volume for a very, very cheaply, poorly constructed toy. And again, not knocking you if you're into Funko. I've got a bunch of pops myself. I really do. But of things that I like, and when I started getting carried away, I cut myself off. Because I was like, you know what? It's too much. It takes up a lot of space. It's poorly constructed. And Funko doesn't care if there's something wrong. They just don't. Marvel Legends, they get you with the Build-A-Figures and with repaints. Repaint something, here it is again. Build-A-Figures, okay, I like 3 out of 6 of these, but now I've got these 3 Build-A-Figure parts. Shoot, I may as well buy the other 3. McFarlane Toys does the same thing. McFarlane Toys also repaints a bunch of stuff. So they get you in volume when they can't put a big price tag on it. You'll buy a bunch of smaller things instead of paying one big price for one big thing. There's a lot of companies that do that. It's real easy. Mego's doing it. Hasbro, what is it? Black Series Star Wars. Wave after wave after wave until people are buried in them. They can't even display them anymore. They got to turn all the boxes sideways, and so you can see the numbers, but you can't see the figures. Who is it? Mattel wrestlers, the WWE figures. What are there, like 8,000 of them now? Exaggerating a little bit, but you get my point. If you're an adult collector, you are being taken advantage of by these companies. They know that kids aren't buying toys anymore. It's us for our nostalgia, and they're taking advantage of that nostalgia. And again, I'm not telling you not to collect this stuff. You know, if you like it, you like it. I know the Big Chief Studio, there's a lot of problems with this figure. There were a lot of problems with this figure, and they were pretty much unwilling to do anything about it. This vest is supposed to light up. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. The base is supposed to light up when you touch it. It doesn't work. A lot of people who got this hat, the insignia was missing, or the magnet was in upside down, because it's a magnet. You see, he's got no head. Basically, he's a pinhead here. But the magnet was in reverse, so when people tried to put the hat on, it would fly off. And they were like, oh well, too bad. I know they replaced the stickers. They sent people some stickers for the hat. I don't know if they replaced any of the reverse magnet helmets, though, or hats. I heard there was a huge problem with that, and also with this vest being too tight. A lot of people's vests tore. They weren't replaced. Big Chief is like, screw you. It happens. That's how they treat you. And I still did order. I still have on pre-order, because like I said, I'm guilty of this too. I'm not just sitting here condemning people, because I still fall into it myself. The John Pertwee and Tom Baker from Big Chief Studios, because I'm a big old school Doctor Who fan. But I do know that when I review those, I'm going to like some things, and there's some things that I'm really not going to like, including the price and the multiple delays that have taken place with these figures. Hell, I'm waiting for them to just cancel the order altogether at some point, because it doesn't seem like they want to make them. But they got their money though, don't they? Or they have their down payments anyways. You know what I'm talking about. At least be honest with yourselves so that you can start being a little bit more discerning about how you're spending your money on this modern stuff. And I go back and forth a little bit. You know, my heart really lies in the vintage, and I kind of dabble in the modern stuff to a point, but I know when to cut it off. And I guess that's what I'm asking people to think about. Know when to cut it off. You know, part of the reason why people buy a lot of the modern stuff is because they don't think they can afford the vintage, but a lot of the vintage stuff isn't as expensive as you think in comparison. Especially when you're talking about not just money, but your time, your energy, your effort, and everything else that goes into your collecting. So I'm sure I hurt some feelings.
So are you saying like the vintage stuff has a better quality as far as like materials, posability, and all of that compared to the modern stuff?
Not necessarily. A lot of the stuff that was manufactured back in the day, it was made kind of flimsily, because they never expected it to last.
Mm-hmm.
But now modern manufacturers know that you expect it to last, and they're still not giving you the quality. Back then, you didn't get great quality physically, but you got a realistic price. Remember the model.
Mm-hmm.
You did get a realistic price, and it was readily available. You could find it. You wanted it, you can go to KB, you can go to Child World, you can go to Toys R Us, whatever, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and it was there. Even exclusives. How many exclusives did KB toy stores have, especially of Toy Biz stuff? You wanted to find it, you go in there, they'd have 100 of them in every store. They had it. It was there, and the price was reasonable, even if it was flimsily constructed. You know, so they were still following the manufacturing model.
Mm-hmm.
With these modern companies, they're not. They're not following any of them. And they're getting away with it. They're getting away with it because people in our age category are so starved for the nostalgia that they're willing to put up with a lot. Too much, in fact. It's almost like a drug addiction.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean,
I know, like I said, it's a tough love discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, like, I'm going to butthurt a few people. Sorry if that's the case, but like I said, you don't have to stop collecting it. As I just said, I still do. I know that this is not like great quality. I still like it. I still like it though. This is one of my favorite of the Mezcos. I'm not going to sell it. Was it too expensive, and is it poorly constructed, and did it take forever? Sure. But no, actually this one was a convention exclusive, I think. But it still wasn't readily available because it's limited runs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back in the old days, exclusive didn't mean there was only a couple. So it still doesn't follow any of the models. But I do like it, and I enjoy having it. But I do recognize what the circumstances are surrounding it.
Yeah.
And more people need to, so they can be more discerning with their purchases, I think. But, you know, again, you can do whatever you want, collect whatever you want. You like Funko, you like Marvel Legends, you like Mego, the new Mego, you like Hot Toys. That's fine. Like, I'm not trying to take it from you. I just think that you should probably be, or most people should at least be aware of the circumstances and be a little bit more discerning about how they spend their money and how they invest their time and effort and energy in their collections. Because you hear too often about people, they reach a point where they get fed up and then they don't want to collect anything. You've heard this before, where that's Alexa calling you.
Yeah.
You. This is how you know this isn't scripted, folks. There's no teleprompter here.
Yeah.
Booming through the house. Thanks, Alexa. Shut up.
She's everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Savoir faire is everywhere.
Yeah.
But just be a little bit more discerning about it. And if people were more discerning about how they threw their money around where this stuff is concerned, these companies would have to adjust to meet that demand. Or go bust. All right, no one's going to buy it. Okay, we're going to fix it. Mego's a good example of that, actually. And I don't have a lot of the new Mego stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they did listen to their customers where their interests were concerned.
Alexa on my phone.
Yeah, you didn't respond, so now she's calling you. See how screwed up that is? Just saying.
I know. Alexa want to make sure
Yeah, I see that.
you know what to do.
But customers were saying, Mego, we love you, but why are you making this stuff? And Mego finally sat up and listened and said, okay, you're only interested in monsters and sci-fi. We'll give you just monsters and sci-fi. We get it. Guess what? Some of the stuff they've done recently is some of the best work since they came back.
Yeah.
Especially that Creature from the Black Lagoon was really well done.
That was the best I've seen.
People weren't buying the stuff because they didn't like what Mego was doing. Mego made an adjustment, listened to the fans. They don't always listen,
No.
but they listen to that, and it's working. So if you grab them where it hurts, buy the wallet, and eventually they'll pay attention.
Anything else?
I think I said enough. I think I've scared off enough people by now. They're all sitting there like writing a diatribe like this. How dare you talk about hot toys like that? How dare you talk about Mezco or whatever? But, I'd rather be honest with you. I'd rather give an honest, open opinion. I know that Hot Toys and Mezco will never call me and say, hey man, we've seen your reviews and we'd really like to send you some stuff.
Yeah.
It'll never happen. And if they did, it'd be once.
Well, they're not going to watch your video and say, hey, we watched your video and we saw the complaints that you have. We would like to talk to you further to see what we can do to make your experience with us better.
Yeah, that'll never happen. One of the excuses that I've heard a few times is about customer service. This is the 2000s. That's your excuse?
Yeah.
It's the 2000. Oh, yeah. So I should just expect that these companies should be rude and dismissive when you have a problem. Okay.
I mean, because saying that, you should say, well, yeah, this is the 2000s. We got more technology. So they say the quality of products and materials are better.
Yeah.
So I should get a better overall product. I should have a better experience because we're more educated and I got air quotes going on and all that. So that means my experience with your company should be better.
Yeah, right.
And I should get better products from you.
No, you get made fun of by these companies.
Yeah, on social media.
Yeah, or they ignore you. And if you've ever seen my video a couple of months back about my Mezco nightmare experience, where they sent it to the wrong address and then basically told me to screw myself. That kind of thing should never happen.
Yeah.
It should never happen. And I communicated with customer service back and forth over and over and over again, and they kept acting like they did not understand what I was saying. That's frustrating.
Yeah.
But I guess that's about it, unless you have something you want to chime in with.
No, I think so. And it's something that we've said before about figures, and I think some of it is a status symbol.
That's true.
And people don't care what, they're a Hot Toys collector, or high end or something.
Statues Prime 1 is a good example.
Yeah. So I'm going to suck it up. So what? It falls apart. I have a Hot Toy. I have 500 Hot Toys in my collection.
And it's worth X amount, and ha!
Yeah. Yeah.
As I look down my nose at you, peasant, with your Amigos and your Marvel Legends.
Yeah. and or some people really like the character, or
True.
just to say that they're collecting and they felt like, okay, I've already invested this much, I'm going to keep going no matter what.
Yeah.
You have all of those things that goes through people's mind, I think. And so, I mean, I'm honest with it. I've heard the stories about NECA, but honestly, I don't open them.
Yeah,
so
she
it can
leaves
fall
them all
apart.
sealed anyway.
Yeah, it can fall apart all it want to. I would never know.
Bottom line, like I said, if you're happy with it, you're happy with it.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to put it out there to be aware that to a degree you're being taken advantage of by these companies.
Yeah, and I know you're right, especially with the 3.0, because I do have 3 zeros, and they say that thing can pose 78 and 100.
Yeah, she's talking about the Transformers,
and
those are very difficult
to
work
pose.
with. But if you say that, then the hardcore Transformer 3.0 fans will be like, well, you need to be really careful and know what you're doing. And no, I shouldn't be doing a review and having pieces falling off of my hands is what should happen.
Exactly.
And I'm not being rough with this stuff.
And I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna stop buying it. Because I like the Transformer 3 zeros. And honestly, once the Megatron comes, I'll have all that I want. So I'm fine with that. But you got to know, and you got to be honest with yourself, and you have to admit, yeah, it's not great quality, but this is what I like.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And you have to just, and not just say, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's true, but. Okay.
And that's why I have this. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Jerry Anderson products, or Jerry Anderson shows. That's Captain Scarlet. Looks pretty much just like him. I remember Captain Scarlet really well. I liked the show, and it's not that great for what was paid. It really isn't. But knowing that, I still, that's why I said I'm guilty of it too, ordered the John Pertwee and Tom Baker because I have really fond memories of Doctor Who when I was growing up. They have other stuff I might be interested in, but like they have the Commander Koenig from Space 1999. It's like, oh, that'd be really nice to have, but is it worth God, how much was it? $300+. And then I'm like, and it's going to be this kind of quality. Do I really need it?
Yeah.
You know, you got to be honest with yourself about a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah, you do.
And never think of it as an investment. Never. Never. Because you have no clue what'll happen to it in the future. It's not going to, you don't know, it could be worth 4 times as much or a quarter of what you paid for it.
Yeah, because
So
a lot of people had those thoughts in the 80s about what? Cabbage Patch, starting lineups, pound puppies.
Yeah, pound puppies have come down too, yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those, some properties went up, some went down.
Yeah.
You can't predict it.
Because Cabbage Patch was going for what, like $1,000?
Yeah, some of them were going for like $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And now you can find them at Goodwill all over the place.
pretty much.
So, you never know where the market's gonna go. The ebbs and the flows.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, if that's all, guys, I just hope you understand where I'm coming from and don't get too upset for me just, again, being honest and giving an honest opinion. If you have any thoughts about that, feel free to post your thoughts in the comments section down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you get where I'm coming from. Share it if you can, subscribe if you're new, all that good stuff. Check out some of the other videos. We do a lot on this channel for the adult collector and for adult nostalgia buffs in general, besides just these kind of discussions. So check it out. And is that all?
Yep.
Well, then what more can I say but thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.